Ever felt like life is closing in on you? Like you're trapped by rules, routines, or responsibilities that just don't fit anymore? What if I told you that your limitations aren't here to suffocate you? They're actually sacred blueprints awaiting to guide your freedom. The shadow of limitation has this belief that your growth is being blocked by something or someone outside of you. But here's the truth. The only thing being blocked is one's resistance to structure. To better understand this, let me tell you a story. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. Born in a village where the mountains pressed tightly around the land like protective arms. No roads led out, only winding goat trails carved by time and silence. From a young age, Eileen felt the pull of the unknown beyond those peaks. She asked her elders why they never traveled, why no bridges had been built. They would say, "These mountains are sacred. They keep us safe. To challenge them would be foolish." But inside, Eileen felt more than curiosity. She felt pressure, a restlessness, as if a great seed had been planted in her spirit, and the mountain walls were its pot. She tried to conform. She mastered the ways of the village. She followed the rules, but the more she fit in, the more she felt boxed in, like the very air was shrinking. One day, she stood alone at the highest ridge and whispered, "Why does my spirit feel too large for my life?" And from deep within her chest, something answered, "It is not the mountain that limits you. It is the meaning you've given to its shape." It wasn't about escaping. It wasn't about tearing down the boundaries. It was about listening to what they were asking of her. Eileen didn't leave the village that year, but she began building within. New ways of expressing, new ways of organizing her time, her thoughts, her voice. Her creativity was no longer boxed in. It was shaped by what had once felt like limitation. And in time, her spirit no longer pressed against the edges because her edges had evolved with her. This 60th evolutionary pattern of change sits at the powerful cusp between Capricorn and Aquarius, between I use and I will, between structure and innovation, tradition and rebellion. Its shadow is limitation, and it brings us face to face with the discomfort of boundaries, whether physical, emotional, creative, or spiritual. But here's what many don't realize. Limitation is not a punishment. It is a test of perception. And perception is what determines whether we evolve or stay stuck. When we resist limitations, we often project that resistance outward, blaming time, money, age, our bodies, or other people. But this specific challenge teaches us that every structure holds a sacred blueprint, not just of containment, but of divine order. The companion to the shadow of limitation and its fear of confinement is the shadow of distraction and its fear of internal discomfort. It carries the repressive nature of being sullen and the reactive nature of becoming overstimulated. So you can see how the shadow of distraction and the shadow of limitation work together to keep us away from how we can make the most of ourselves and truly find nourishing practices so that we can bloom within the confines of our design. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, Over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign, so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, the hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you will reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference For example, I use the Human Design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. Let's look at the body. Our DNA, our cells, our very form, they're all built through precise limitations. Bones hold muscles in place. Skin holds organs. Breath has rhythm. Blood has boundaries. Without structure, we dissolve. This specific challenge speaks to the fear that structure will trap us, but biologically, structure is what allows for function, flow, and flexibility. In fact, limitation is what makes evolution possible. The caterpillar must push against the cocoon to become the butterfly. The seed must press against the soil to root. And we as humans must learn to stop fearing resistance and start partnering with it. This 60th challenge teaches that our limiting circumstances may be our deepest initiations, because what feels like restriction may actually be refinement, a preparation for what's next. Spiritually, this challenge calls us into deeper maturity. The repressive nature collapses because it avoids structure, floats through life, and waits for direction. The reactive nature tightens, it enforces structure, clings to control, and fears change. But both are rooted in fear, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of not being enough without external form. And that's where the shadow becomes a teacher. When we face the fear, when we breathe through it and stop fighting the limitations, a new current of intelligence emerges. This is the gift of realism, the ability to see clearly without illusion. It says, "This is what I'm working with. These are the tools I have, and within this sacred limit, I can create something true." Realism doesn't mean resignation, it means alignment. It means we stop trying to escape form and instead elevate it. And from there, something profound happens. The highest frequency of this pattern of change is justice. But this isn't human law. It's not punishment or morality. It's the quiet, sacred balance of the cosmos. Justice is the realization that everything, even our limits, serve the evolution of the soul. It's knowing that if we're born into a body, a family, a situation that feels constrained, it may be that our mastery is found not in escaping, but in transforming within it. This challenge doesn't demand that one breaks down the walls. It invites one to walk their edges, trace their meaning, and discover the grace hidden inside them. Because when fear melts, when one stops seeing limitation as the enemy, one will hear something else entirely. You will hear your soul whisper, "Now, I trust you to carry the sacred structure of your light." This is not the end of the journey through these patterns of change. It's just one of the invitations to begin asking, where am I resisting life's sacred structure? What am I calling limitation that might be divine timing? And how can I bring more compassion into how I hold my edges? If this message in this video speaks to you, consider liking and subscribing to this channel, where we all explore the hidden wisdom inside and the challenges within. Here, there are no quick fixes, there are no spiritual bypassings, just truth, rhythm, and grace. So before moving on to the next video, remember, your boundaries may just be the blueprint of your becoming. In the description below, you'll find more information on this shadow. You'll also find a means to contact me if you want to be able to get more deeply into this and maybe other shadows that you're having challenges with after you've looked at your human design or gene key chart. You'll also find a link to my website so that you can learn more about me, what I do, how I do it, and why. You'll also have a link to my website. Also find 3 links below to 3 different meetup groups that I host. The first one is Divination Systems, where you learn more about these shadows, the gifts from transmuting them all, especially the one specific to you, and how you can help others do the same. Along with that, I have the Emotional Intelligence and Mastery workshop, where we go through the emotions and learn that they're not enemies. They're not there for the shadow to always use them as fuel, but we can repurpose them and we can use them as allies to manifestations that will truly allow us to flourish. Lastly, there's the Emotional Trauma Release Group. So you can learn how to let go of emotions that entrapped you into people pleasing and conforming and dimming your light so that you'd be palatable for other people who have dimmed theirs before you have. Thank you for dedicating some of your lifetime. And I hope these videos have brought you the insight and wisdom that you needed most at the time you needed it. God bless you on your journey. Namaste and good life to you all.